Hi, guys. Are you tired already? I'm always the last speaker. I don't know how it happens, but yes, I will try to keep you awake because we are going to talk about some very interesting but a little bit heavy stuff. So today I'm going to explain to you how to launch a cosmetic brand on the European Union market. And I hope I will be fine with the techniques. Nope. Okay, who we are? We are a 30 years old company. We are a second generation. And what we do is we are making the full process from launching a cosmetic brand from formulation to production, packaging, developing the safety assessment in the PIF, making CPMP registration, packing, logistic, everything that you can imagine connected with the cosmetic business. Who am I? It's very long. I was already introduced, but very shortly, uh, I have a graduated pharmacy in Sofia Medical University. I have a postgraduated in a safety assessment department, so I'm a safety assessor, actually safety assessor, and I'm also dealing with documentation connected with European Union placing products on the market. Okay, so these are the basic steps of what you should do to place a cosmetic product on the market. And I have a question for you. Do you know how many of those steps you need somebody like us to help you? You can guess. A lot, right? So those are actually the steps that you need us. Of course, product development, because yeah, we are the experts in that. Design, branding, and packaging. This doesn't sound as fun as it is, and I'm going to explain you why. Sort out the legal and regulatory requirements. In my opinion, I meet a lot of people who want to start a cosmetic brand, but they don't know about the regulations, current regulations in the European Union, and this is a big problem for them when they're launching. This is the first thing that is a huge problem of them. I'm sorry, I'm tired also. So then production and logistics, this is, of course, something that every producer does. And then collect feedback. This is very important, and not just because customers have to tell you how you have to improve your product, but also we are the one that can help you when there is undesirable effects or serious undesirable effects. We are the people who can help you deal with that. Okay. So we are going to talk about all those things. So when we start with product development, the first question that we are going to ask you is, what product do you want to do? Do you want to order? And sometimes you will be very surprised to hear that sometimes, well, most of the times actually people are starting to build a cosmetic brand with products that are not actually cosmetics. Yes, and this is very interesting because one and the same formula can be a cosmetic product or not be a cosmetic product depending on the way that you are presenting it. So there are some claims that you cannot put on a cosmetic product. I'm going to give you an example. We are having this very, very thick and heavy cream that you claim that is softening the skin and nourishing the skin. This is a cosmetic product. But then, if you want to claim that it helps with atopic dermatitis, it's the same formula, but not a cosmetic product anymore. Then what requirements do you have? We need actual cosmetic claims. Because when we are formulating, we have to know what you're going to claim in order to put the right ingredients in the product. So the marketing should be done first and then the formulation happens. It's not the other way around, which is, again, very interesting. So for instance, if you tell us that you want us to make for you a hydrating serum that has also an anti-aging effect. We are going to prepare the ingredients to get the ingredients that can actually defend the claims that you're making. Otherwise, we are just doing a serum, and then you are claiming some things that we cannot defend, and you cannot defend, and this is a problem because consumers are disappointed, and also the regulatory part is not okay. So after that, we are going to ask you what are the other requirements that you have for the formula that we're building. Is it going to be natural or and organic, or organic or conventional? So if you tell us we want the product to be natural and organic, we are going to ask you according to whom you want it to be natural and organic, because in Europe, there is no one standard. There are several standards, and if you're going to claim that, we need to know what the standard you're going to certify or you're going to use in order for us to build the formula right, in order to complete the standard that you're aiming at. Then, do you have a blacklist? Because sometimes it's very funny, but customers are actually telling us what ingredients to use. Please don't tell us what ingredients to use. You can tell us what ingredients not to use. So if you don't like, for instance, phenoxyethanol, you can tell us, please build a formula without phenoxyethanol because I'm going to claim that. It's, again, the part of the claiming and defense part. So what type of packaging you're going to use? Why we need to know that? From the very beginning, we don't need to know what and the pump will be, what the color will be of the packaging, but we need to know, are you going to put this cream in a jar or you're going to put it in the airless with a pump? Because the formulation is very different for different packaging. And if you tell us in the very beginning, we are going to place this product in a jar, and then you change your mind and it has to be in a pump, this is not just fix it. We are starting from the very beginning, and this is something that slows you down, and it's very expensive. It doesn't make sense. Then when we are talking about branding and packaging, I told you it's not a fun thing from our part, because when we are talking about packaging, we are interested in packaging compatibility. So we have to test if the product is actually compatible with your packaging. And of course, the cosmetic packaging is made of materials that are made to be in contact with cosmetic product, but I'm going to give you a very nice example. When we are talking about how the product actually works, imagine that you are giving us we have to do a styling spray. And then you are giving us a pump that is too small, and we know that when you pump it 3 times, then the styling spray will stick to the pump and it's not usable anymore. This is what I'm talking about for the other compatibility part. Then here I have to mention something that is very dear to me. This is the new packaging waste regulation in the EU that is right now applying, and it will be applied first in 2030. So according to it, you have to, until 2030, you have to have fully recyclable packaging, and then you have to have at least 30% already recycled plastic inside the packaging. So why I'm telling you that? Because if you launch today a cosmetic brand, you have to think of that, because otherwise, in like 4 years or 3 years, you will have to change the packaging, which is, again, a huge cost, and it's super risky. And when we are talking about packaging, you have to also think about the supply chain. I very much like Chinese packaging, because they can be really, really high quality. However, think when we go into the production, and when you plan the production, if you want to get something from China, that means at least 3 months delivery. That means that if you are going to source something from very far away, you have to think about the deliveries, the delivery times, and everything. I'm getting good at that. So, EU cosmetic legislation, currently we are under Regulation 1223 2009, Regulation 655 2013, and the new packaging waste regulation. The first one, those regulations are actually very, very short. If you want to go into the cosmetic business, please read them. And the first regulation is the main regulation that is putting all the rules that has to every European company and every cosmetic product placed on the market has to be according to this regulation. The second regulation is actually a regulation about cosmetic claims. So over there is a special regulation that deals with the things that you say to your clients. As I told you, you can say that it is nourishing, but you cannot say that it helps with atopic dermatitis. And furthermore, I have been asked like 1,000 times, why can I not say that my product is not tested on animals? Because it's not tested on animals, right? But this is something that is banned because it is against Regulation 655, Article 1, because testing on animals in Europe is banned from 2013. That means that you cannot claim something that you are obliged not to do, right? That is why testing on animals written on the packaging or in the marketing is absolutely banned. What is a responsible person? You are the responsible person. A responsible person is every entity that is either producing, either placing on the market and delivering the products from a third country, or it is a distributor under which brand the product is produced. This means that if you have your own cosmetic brand and somebody produces for you, you are the responsible person. That means that you have to oblige with the regulations, and we can just help you with that, but at the end of the day, in front of the authorities and in front of the clients, it's your responsibility to follow that. What are the mandatory tests? This is also a very, very commonly asked question. There are no mandatory tests. So every product has tests on itself. So, for instance, if you have a product that contains water and does not contain alcohol above a certain level, so it doesn't have a low microbiological risk, then you have to make a challenge test. Challenge test is a test for microbiology, and it has to prove that your preservative system will keep your product stable, microbiologically stable, during the minimum durability of the product. This is just an example. Every product has different tests. If you have an emulsion, you have to do emulsion stability, but it is not mandatory for gels, for instance. So if somebody tells you, have you done the mandatory tests, you can ask which ones. And who is going to tell you what the mandatory tests are? The formulator and the safety assessor. Because there are also claims that has to be proven. There are also things connected with safety that has to be proven with the test. So it's decided really product by product. And my favorite question, what is PIF and what is CPMP? PIF is the documentation that you cannot go without. So please remember that if you're placing a product on the market, and here there is a very good distinction. So placing a product on the market is when you place the product in the hands of the final consumer. It doesn't matter if you are selling it or not. You can give it for free. It's still placing on the market. In order to place on the market a product, you have to have a PIF. So it's a full documentation. It's actually a photo, a documental photo of your product. In this PIF, you will have a production dossier. You will have the MSDS and all the documents of the ingredients. Then you have to have a safety assessment, which is done from somebody like me, for instance, that has a degree from pharmacy, toxicology, dermatology, and other such professions. So make sure that you have these documents, and when you have them, then you have to notify the European Union, so the authorities, that you're placing this product on the market. This is done by making a registration in CPMP. This is Cosmetic Product Notification Portal. Please remember that you first do the PIF, then you made a notification, and then you can place it. Without notification, it is illegal to place the product on the market. And then when you're choosing a producer, be careful for them, they have to have a GMP. What is GMP? This is good manufacturing practice, but there is something important here also. It is not mandatory for the producer to have an ISO or third-party certification. In the regulation, it says that the producer has to follow the rules of the good manufacturing practice. So when you're choosing a producer, remember that it's not mandatory for them to have a certificate, and also remember that it's a very bad example, but I'm going to share it. There are producers that actually have the certificate, but don't follow the rules of the good manufacturing practice. So make sure that they actually follow the rules. Then you have to ask them, of course, what is the MOQ, what is the minimum order quantity. Every producer has a minimum order quantity, but it's also very important to ask them, can you produce more? Because imagine that you're going to launch this brand, everybody will love the brand, and then you have to produce more and more and more. And then if the producer, if they don't have the equipment to do larger batches, that means that you either have to produce very often, very small batches, which is not good for you because it's still very expensive and very slow, or you have to change a producer. And trust me, changing a producer is super hard, takes super many times, and also it's very expensive because every producer works with certain ingredients. If you change a producer and the new producer doesn't have these ingredients, you have to buy them, and they are not small quantities. What about logistics? Every producer, well, the producer that you're choosing, they have to have a logistic base. At least they have to have a warehouse. I'm telling you that because there are actually producers that does not have a warehouse. So why you need that? Because you have to, when you're producing your own product with them, first of all, you have to deliver the packaging, right? And the packaging have to be delivered in advance. Then maybe they have to keep your goods for a certain time, certain period before you arrange the shipping and everything. And if they don't have a logistics, that is absolutely impossible. And then be careful where the producer is situated, especially in Bulgaria, because you know the quality of our infrastructure. And imagine that you're going to send a 30-foot truck to a small village somewhere in the mountains to load your goods. You can do it once, but after that you have to change the logistic companies many times because they will crash the trucks, right? And very important also, can they prepare my goods for shipment and with specific requirements? So many of you know Amazon. Many of you know the big chains like Rossmann, like DM, all those guys. Everybody has a specific requirements of shipment. So the folio has to be this high. There should be a sticker on the pallet which says that, and that. The boxes has to be arranged in certain way and in certain order. Make sure that your producer can do that because otherwise you're going to ship your goods to a third-party warehouse where they can prepare it, and this is a waste of money actually. When we are talking about the pricing, also something very interesting, the pricing of the product is actually up to you. How? Well, when you are in the development phase, in the very beginning, you should be the one that you're telling your producer how much you're willing to pay for this product. This is a very interesting concept because normally people are asking how much will it cost. No, you're going to tell us how much will it cost because you know your customers, you know how you're going to sell this product. So you know how much it will cost, then deduct everything and tell us how much the product should cost from us. Stop thinking like final users. You're not final users anymore. You're producers, you're brand owners. So you should be ready to set the boundaries, and pricing is something connected with that. Cheap is always more expensive. I think you know that. Because, well, cheap is always more expensive because in the first case, you're choosing somebody who gives you lower prices but cannot provide the service that you need. Then you have, God forbid, defect products or recalls or something. And then you, at the final stage, you will go to the more expensive producer because they are the best. But you will just waste some money in the steps to there.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yes. Okay. Intellectual property is something very important in the first meeting with your producer and the people who are going to make the formula. Ask them, who is the owner of my intellectual property? If they say we are, then you say, no, I'm going to buy it. Simply communicate. If you communicate enough with those people, they will do everything that you require them to do. High volumes are always cheaper. This is connected with the thing that I told you before. Don't judge only on the MOQs. Judge about the producer of the overall capacity that they have. Try to plan in advance. This is super hard for everybody, I know, but if you plan in advance, you can order more goods, and then the price will be lower. And yes, here I'm talking about annual plans, but I think that you know that. What if there is something wrong with your product? This is why you have to be the owner of the intellectual property, because otherwise, you say my product doesn't have the same viscosity as the sample. How are you going to prove that if you don't have the actual documentation and the actual intellectual property and every information connected with your product? And 2 more slides, I promise. What we can do, minutes for commercial, what we can do, we can actually do everything for you. First of all. Second of all, if you have already chosen a different partner, you should know that we are also consulting. You can meet with us and ask us about every phase or every problem that you've met. We will try to help you and to answer your questions. We have a new partnership model. So if somebody is interested in that, please visit us on our stand. We will be there for, I think, half an hour more. And also, because I'm giving this lecture for like 1,000th time for the last 10 years, we have made an academy. There are 18 highly curated videos made for people like you who want to launch their own cosmetic brand. In these videos, we are explaining everything from the very beginning to the very end. Even we are giving information about exhibitions and trading and everything. So if you're interested in that, you can join us. Sadly, it's only available in Bulgarian for now, but we are working about that.